This is your friendly neighborhood maniac, Matt Hatter, and you are listening to Sit Down Marks with DB, AJ, and Primo. And welcome to my wonderland.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Come on in. Sit down. You know who it is. It's your boys, the Sit Down Marks podcast, episode number 131 of the Sit Down Marks podcast. Thank you, everybody, watching right now on YouTube and Facebook. And thank you, everybody, listening afterwards on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and, of course, all of our friends over at Sportswire Radio. Thank you, everybody, for checking us out, man. I'm excited for what we got for you here today, man. This guy, what else can I say other than, he's getting hot on the scene right now, man. He's on a lot of podcasts, so I was happy to be able to get him on mine before he gets too busy. You know what I'm saying? So, but he's kind of in demand, man. And he's a lot of people are looking at him right now. A lot of different promotions, a lot of different promoters. And yes, I'm going to put this guy over this whole podcast because, I've known him now for a good couple of years. So, really got to know him here and see what he's all about and, and the grind, that he's putting in independent wrestling right now. So I'm happy to have him on the pod, you guys. Here we go. Let's talk to him, man. How about it? Like you said, everybody's friendly neighborhood maniac. But when I see him, I always like to say it's time to choose violence. Welcome to the podcast, my man, Matt Hatter. What's up, brother?
How's it going, my friend?
I'm good, man. Hope that intro was good enough for you. Shit, right? That was good. I'm not putting anybody else over that good, I don't think.
You do every time I see you. Did you wake up and choose violence today? Like, I don't have a choice, man.
That's it. And we're going to talk about the why and the how, man. But, hey, dude, let's jump into it. Speaking of friendly neighborhoods, you just yourself got your own new neighborhood, right? You're fresh into a fresh, brand new house that you've just bought, man. Congratulations. You guys certainly deserve all the blessings that that's happening for you. So, man, I'm happy, man. Like, is it good to feel to be in the house, man? Moving fucking sucks. Let's just call it what it is, right?
Yeah, it does. And like, we had a time crunch because I got the keys and then I had to be on the road up into Milwaukee, wrestled there, back, slept, went over to Tampico Days and did 2 more matches. So, and then Sunday was just getting stuff organized. So I haven't really been home long enough to enjoy it yet.
Yeah.
But
nice. The grind don't stop though, no matter where you move into, does it? No.
And I wonder how my neighbors are going to feel about the new ring I'm putting up next summer. So
I don't know, man. Keep me updated on the next podcast. You got to let us know, right?
Like, absolutely.
Yeah. Let us know next time. So, all right, man. Hey, let's talk about Matt Hatter, dude. Obviously it's, right off the bat, we see Hatter, we think Alice in Wonderland, we know, that part of the gimmick, the little bit of inspiration there. But what else, man? Like, deep dive in something else. Like, if somebody's kind of looking at you, they're probably getting a little bit of steampunk vibes, maybe a little,
Yeah.
Is that where you kind of are? But, like explaining in another form fashion there.
Like, I've always just been the punk rock kid, that's kind of always been my personality type. And I love the music. I love the do-it-yourself mentality that punk rock presents. So like that's why, I mean, all my gear right now is handmade by my wife. My awesome vest, it's all shiny, has all kinds of spikes and stuff on that. She made it.
Oh yeah, we're
So
gonna get to
like,
her. We're gonna talk about her.
so like, I just always thought that those two kind of meshed. Like wrestling's, even though it's super mainstream now, it's still kind of like the outlier of entertainment. And so like punk rock and wrestling kind of go hand in hand. So
Right.
I just kind of like developed that, like, how do I be a punk rock wrestler without being like every other punk rock wrestler? So I just kind of was like, well, all punk rock is just having as much fun as you possibly can with your friends. So I just do that with the crowd.
Sure. Yeah, and it kind of and it comes easy for you. You know, it seems like your natural face. You know what I mean? Kind of. You know what I mean? But I mean, if you if someone's looking at you like the pictures like we have right now up on YouTube, it's your with your gimmick and everything, they might get a little bit of deathmatch vibes. Yeah, I'm sure you get that a lot, right?
I am wearing a Planet Death shirt.
Okay,
so.
right. Living the gimmick.
I really enjoy deathmatch wrestling. There's so many different nuances there that you can only get through death matches. And I understand there's a lot of feelings about it, but my feeling is it's wrestling. There's a time and place. There's a crowd for everything.
Sure.
It's just what do you like to do?
Right.
Okay. Like I know guys that are great deathmatch wrestlers that can also put on an awesome 30-minute Iron Man match. It's just what story are you trying to tell and to what crowd?
Sure. But I also see too with you, like, like you got the look to pull off a heel too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got like like you could pull off like a very sinister edge, I think, about you, so to speak. Like if you needed to go there, on that heel side. But yeah, so I mean, obviously the character is, it's always evolving, too, and
Yeah.
so, is anything you're like trying to that you're pulling from anything from mainstream, anything you're watching and maybe trying to incorporate into your like arsenal, so to speak? You know what I mean?
I watch a lot of the indies. GCW is one of my main follows, and
Nice.
There's just so much wrestling that I think somebody did the math. If you bought all of the subscriptions you need to watch all of the wrestling, you're spending like $130 a month. So like I try to keep up with as much as I can through clips and all the reels and things like that. But like the biggest thing, I guess, right now is I'm watching footwork. When I'm studying tapes, I'm watching footwork, positioning, timing,
transitions,
and smooth those things out.
Sure. Nice. So so you're let's talk about being an indie wrestler. So you're trying to get your character over. You're figuring out what your character is. You're figuring out how the crowd responds to your character. All the while busting your ass all day long, hoping to get on the show.
Yeah.
So let's talk about of course what it takes to be a pro wrestler, of course. So you're training Zawa Live, Christian Rose. We're going to talk about a match that you guys had not too long ago, but tell me, I think were you a 2020 kid? 19?
21.
21. Okay.
Yeah, just hit my 3-year mark.
Yeah. So jumping into wrestling right then, going into Zawa training, what was day one like? Where was the nerves at?
I mean, when I started training, we're still in COVID. So I didn't necessarily get your normal structured training. My first day was with Rose, and we spent most of the time talking the respect for the culture, the respect for the business, and the history of professional wrestling, and how to respect the ring, how to respect, it's just really ingraining respect.
Sure.
And then the only thing I did that night was a couple bumps and then try and learn how to do the over-unders. And Mike Hartenbauer was there. His first time, really meeting him outside of being a fan. And he's like, you better do it right because I'm following. So I did it right. And I looked down, he's not there. I turn around and goes, no way I was going to follow you. He goes, but you did it right. So it worked.
Nice.
So like that. And then actually Bucky was there too. And Bucky was the one that told me to
watch great fucking minds, dude. Like, lucky you.
Yep. Bucky was like, don't watch wrestling to come up with your gimmick. When it's time, read your favorite comics, watch your favorite movies. Like, wrestling's already been done. Do something else that you like, because if you like it, it will come naturally to you.
Sure.
And so I was watching Pirates of the Caribbean with my kids, and Johnny Depp's running along the beach like an idiot, and my kids are all looking at me, and I'm like, yeah. And that's when I was like, I know what I'm going to do.
Right.
And so like just started going down that rabbit hole, pun intended, and here we are.
Right. I've always heard like putting your character together is kind of like shopping in a mall of everything you love.
Yep.
You're right. And you got a shopping cart and everything's up on shelves and you're just pushing through there. You're grabbing a little bit of this, putting in there, I like that. And Spider-Man, I like this, you know what I mean? So yeah. Any influence person, any like like anybody from a band or any of that kind of stuff, like you might be like, oh, that guy looks cool in a scarf, I'm gonna wear a scarf or something.
I just kind of like, I just always wear black.
Mm-hmm.
Like my grandfather, every time he saw me, he would start singing Johnny Cash's Man in Black. He's done this my whole life. Like that's
classy man.
Leather vest, the spikes, the punk rock kid, the emo kid. And so like, just kind of was like, how do I make that work? And like you said, like you come out and I'm a ball of fire when I come through that curtain, So like, the crowd doesn't, but first time you ever see me, you don't know if you like me or not, because I, like you said, don't look like a normal baby face.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's it's a little bit of an uphill battle, because I have to get the crowd, because who is it? Jake the Snake said that your match doesn't start when the bell rings. Your match starts when you walk through the curtain.
Right.
So I'm getting the crowd behind me. The kids, I'm a walking fidget spinner. I've got piercings. I've got my dyed hair.
Fidget spinner.
Like it's not hard to me to walk up to a kid, give him a 5-5, and the rest of the kids all want high fives.
Right.
So like I just go find the kids and be like, hey, like I'm here to have a good time with you. Let's have a good time.
Right.
And that's kind of like the approach. Like, plus, like what kid doesn't want to jump on the tables, and here's a grown man jumping on the tables. Like
right. You get to do the things you want to do as a kid, or keep doing the things you did as a kid, right?
Yep.
Right.
Keep the child alive.
Right. So, any wrestling influences, like who's
Jeff Hardy. You can't tell with all the scarves.
Nope, not at all. Especially one in your pocket, or you wear it on your hip or something, right?
Yeah, it's in my pocket. Okay. I do a swanton.
Yeah.
Ladder matches are my favorite. So, but just how Chris Jericho like just talks about wrestling and thinks about wrestling.
Yeah.
I listen to Undertaker's podcast religiously because of how he talks about wrestling and just the insights, like, how am I say this? Like, you can watch what's going on right now all you want to get your movesets.
Sure.
Right now I'm studying tape for timing and for their footwork, their positioning, those little nuances, but
yeah,
it's the character and the story is people are going to remember. They might remember that one cool thing you did, and all the moves are important, but they're going to remember that one thing, that story and how you made them feel. So like now the big influences are storytellers, and like I said, like Chris Jericho and Undertaker and the people that are the best storytellers of wrestling. I've been really, really studying them because it's all about the story.
Yeah. Good ones to study too. So, but if I'm being honest, dude, I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this, but honestly, my favorite part, and what I think really brings your gear together, especially when you're wrestling, is you wear like these tape like tags on your wrist. Is it
Yep.
like 3 of them on each arm? Is that way it is?
It
2
it
sometimes, 4. I don't know.
it depends on how much tape I have that night.
Okay, but
But usually it's
I
like
love that, man. Yeah.
2 or 3, because I love tassels. I grew up, I grew
Mhm.
up watching Ultimate Warrior
Right.
and early '90s wrestling. It's all tassels, so I wanted to have
Right.
tassels, but I couldn't figure out how to incorporate it in a way that seemed organic with kind of what my design was going for. And then
Right.
I watched Casanova Valentine. I watched him do a no ring match, a no ring death match, and he didn't. He just started taping his hand and his wrist, like he just literally just tapes it and walks out and does this fight. And I kind
Mhm.
of like that like street fight feel. So I started doing that and just started adding more and more strands because I wanted tassels.
Right.
So I just kind of made it work.
Yeah, I mean, made it work, man. It brings it together at this your whole outfit together. But at this point, it's like I've watched you wrestle so much with those. Like if you didn't wear them, it'd be look a slightly weird. I get used to it, but you know what I mean. Because
Yeah.
but I dig that part, man. I think it looks cool. You write anything on them or anything like that?
Dep Depends on the show, and like if I know somebody, like somebody's in the crowd, or like it's somebody's birthday, I'll put their
Sure,
initials on it, or
yeah,
if I have a group of friends from out of town that are there, I will write something for them.
dope,
But for the most part, I just keep it clean.
right. All right, man. Let's talk wrestling, dude. So, if I had to ask you, what does it take to be a pro wrestler? You're the 3 years in now, something like that. What are you thinking? How's it feel? You said you took a couple swantons the other
Yeah,
day in a 24-hour period, and
yeah,
life sucks on your back a little bit right now. But I mean, that's the bumps are the bumps, right? But I mean,
yeah. I mean, I
the,
chose to do it, so like
right,
I can only blame myself.
right. It's a grind, a part of it
Uh,
too. But how would you answer that? What does it take?
More patience than you have.
That's a
It's always going to be
phenomenal answer. Yeah.
more patience than you have. I want it to be, like from day one, I want to do these things. Well, you don't have those skills yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, it's not a bad trait to have where you are almost towards that goal, that skill level, and you're looking at the next goal already. But also, that makes it frustrating because it's like, I'm right there, but I'm not there yet. And it's a constant feeling of right there, but not there yet.
Right.
So it's always going to be more patience than you have.
Sure.
And honestly, I think having a strong support system, like
Right.
wrestling away, it's up and down. And when it's up, it's up. When it's down, you crash. Like screwed up a match, or just the booking didn't, fell through. Whatever that low point is, you have to have somebody that's like, hey, look, dude, like remember what you did 2 months ago? How
Right.
cool was that? Or you had this experience that you wouldn't have without being a wrestler.
Right.
So you have to kind of keep yourself humble, but keep yourself optimistic.
Sure. I mean, it's an optimistically patient waiting game is what it is.
Yep.
I mean, I've been around the game long enough to know. I've been in a locker room since like, some of the 90s, dude. And like,
Yeah.
It's never changed, dude. Like the thing that's always come out of wrestlers that were, most of them that were wanting a contract or were wanting with the, or just get signed by a territory or anything. It was, I can't wait. You always heard of this out of
Yeah.
your mouth. I can't wait until.
I can't wait until.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. You know what I mean? It's never changed. It's never changed, literally. So I mean, that's part of the grind too. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just the way wrestling happens, man. It's more businesses, more promotions. That's why I love AEW's around now. Gives people, way more places to work. And so also, so speaking of work, man, getting into the grind before we talk about wrestling too much, what pays the bills other than some wrestling right now. You're in the welding business, correct?
Yes, but I now program the robots that weld.
There you go. That's the
So
real
it's a little bit easier on my body to take more extreme bumps. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, you have a nice little cubicle office now. Is that what you're saying?
I do, and I'm not handling it well at all. And I don't think my coworkers are either.
Yeah, dude. I wouldn't think you would. It'd be hard to put you. It'd be hard to put you in a box like that. Like,
I
yeah,
I'm bouncing my head along listening to Ariana Grande while programming. They're like, I'm wearing all black, and they're like, "What do you listen to?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Ariana and Lady Gaga." They're like, it blows their minds. I was like, "Oh, don't worry, Slayer's up next." Like,
right. Like just your
but
genre of music, just
yeah,
all
it's
across
just
the board.
dude, I love Ariana Grande. It's like that's my happy music. Like,
Right.
but yeah,
Yeah, I have some
everything.
happy songs. I wouldn't say I have a lot of happy music. I have some happy songs.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something about like pop music, especially like that, like mid 2000 or mid 2010s and on.
Sure.
Just I don't know if it's the beat or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Ariana Grande's hot, so like that.
Right.
But like, I was just something like their tone changes and like how just like they can again like ebb and flow, how they can change, like I have an entire tonal shift
Right.
in a song and it still makes sense. Like just they're masters of their craft, and then it's just always upbeat music.
It is. It was a good time, man. It was a good time. So Zawa trained you, Christian
Yes,
Rose,
sir.
and we're off to the races now. First match, who was it? Who'd you lock up with officially?
My first match was with a guy named JC Price.
Okay.
He doesn't wrestle anymore.
Okay. Did you beat him?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
I forgot
Off
about
with
that.
his head.
Actually, it was a rear naked choke.
I just like having opportunities to say off with his head.
Dude, it's so much fun, isn't it?
It is, man. It is. Usually I'll just say it when you say it, he's off with his head, like during the, we'll talk about your finisher later. But okay, so belts that you've won early in your career. You won a couple in Zawa already, right? Fireweight, maybe?
Nope. I have not gotten to Fireweight. Yep. 3-time tag team champion and Mr. Zawa.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one to win. So how do you feel right now, Matt, as opposed to like, 1 to 2 years ago about your career now? We're going to talk about some matches, but when you wrestled Christian, I next show I saw you at Dreamwave, I said, you said, Christian said that, you watched our match, and I was like, yeah, I felt like you leveled up. It's been time, and that's what I said. I was like, I felt like you leveled up because you were smooth in there. You were thinking, I think you guys wrestled outdoor. Was it in Comanche?
Yep.
In Iowa. Right. Okay. Honestly, man, like perfect place for you guys to do the first match together. Next time, indoors under no disrespect to Zawa, but it's outdoor festival show. You know what I mean? They are what they are. You know what I mean? So that's a great place because next time you guys could probably do it better. But so those are one of your big moments. So how do you feel now, versus right after the match?
I learned a lot and I've utilized all of it. Like I knew after the match when after everything was said and done and we got to like relax a little bit, I was like, I know that changed things. I didn't know how, but I knew that it changed things. Mm-hmm. And then the next weekend I was up at ICW being a heel and things felt smoother. Things were going easier. And like my character work was getting easier, which I also would like to credit Fourth Wall Wrestling for that.
Right.
Like because Milwaukee was the only place I was ever really wrestling as a heel. So
Right.
I was developing that in front of the Milwaukee crowd, and they're intense.
Right.
That's why I love it. Milwaukee's a whole different monster.
For
I've
sure.
never wrestled anywhere else like it. That's why.
Nice. So, talking about the Christian match. Okay. So, with no disrespect to anybody you wrestled to before, but Christian's on, he's on a short list of guys in this Midwest scene, which, I'll always argue is the best independent wrestling scene after, I haven't dabbled a whole lot in on the West Coast, but I lived on the East Coast for a while, and here and Midwest is just where it's at, man. I can't reiterate that enough. But in this area, man, Christian's probably on a short list of, I'm not going to even say a number of guys. I'm not going to get that much heat, but that when you got in there with him and then the match was over with, you were like, whoa, because he's a pro.
Yep.
Right.
That happened. Happened, and it went well. Like, I think that was the thing that blew my mind, was like, oh, like, that was good. Like, the crowd liked it. Like,
yeah, you guys went
like,
back and forth. It was, he was giving you all kinds of, finishers, trying to put you out.
Yep.
Muscle Buster, I think, was one of them in there. You know what I mean? Like,
I got out of that one. That one,
okay, yeah.
that was off.
It was a
that
couple.
Was a no.
It was a couple of definite moves, though, right? And then I mean, you like totally had them, but he finally put you down. I think it was the big boot, but that was after a series of a lot of punishment.
Him catching me by the throat off of a suicide dive and then suplexing me to the outside kind of sucked.
Yeah, that ground looked pretty hard out there too in Comanche. So
it was a lot harder than I had thought it would be.
Yeah. So, and then, not long ago you just worked Hardenbauer, a street fight, so it's a little more playful, a little more, but at least you got to mix it up with him in that manner, and you'll be better next time y'all do.
Yep.
So anybody on the indies like you're now that you feel a little more confident about your skills and stuff, like who you want to mix up with now? Like
everybody at Dreamwave.
Sure. Yeah.
Every single person in that locker room, whether I've already wrestled you once before, Dreamwave's a different monster. Like, how many matches have Florida Man and I've had?
Right.
12, 13, but that one was different. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, anybody that I just is there at Dreamwave, any of them.
Very good answer.
I would like Tommy Trainwreck up at ICW. He's the guy. Well, now Warren Vite's back and beat him, but Tommy, he's kind of been there since day one, showing me the deathmatch ropes, and I want to learn. I want to do that with him.
Yeah.
So, like, that one, Jimmy Lloyd's always just. I don't know. For the second I saw him the first time, I was like, all right, that's my guy. Don't know why. And then I was right, because like Jimmy Lloyd's still my guy. Effie, that would just be so much fun. Wrestling Effie would just be a whole different level of entertaining and fun.
Right.
Matching our levels of obnoxiousness would just be a blast.
Right. So when we were talking about earlier, I meant to go back and speak on it. So your finisher, I'm assuming, right, called Off With His Head or Her Head, or whichever one you have in your clutches.
I actually call it the Queen of Hearts.
There you go. Okay.
But everybody calls it Off With His Head or Off With Their Head, because that's what I yell at people.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And it's like I said, it's just fun to say.
Right. So what is the finisher actually?
It's a slightly modified Sister Abigail.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. So are you feeling comfortable with the gimmick? You know, is
I'm
you know how a lot of people are just kind of, you know, I mean, you know, are you thinking any kind of changes possibly, or you know, a lot of guys now are changing just in one promotion and seeing how it goes. You know what I mean? And so
I mean, if like I know my face character. I mean,
sure,
it's ever evolving, and new stories or new environments, new everything is going to, like in real life, change you, whether for the better or for the worse. I haven't. I kind of know who my heel is.
mhm,
That's still a work in progress.
right,
But like, if the promotion is like new promotion, whatever, hey, I want you to do this, I'll give it a try. If it's not
sure,
working, then like, hey, boss, this isn't working, and
mhm,
can we try? Can you give me some insight, or can we try something different, or can I just use my
yeah,
gimmick?
yeah,
But like, if it's good for the story and it's good for the whole show, then I wouldn't be opposed to changing. I just think right now it's too early because I'm still learning everything.
still, yeah, still
So a
getting
drastic
things
change
down.
might interfere with some progress.
Sure, sure. You got any interest in tag team? You know,
I
tag
miss
team wrestling if you have the right fit.
I miss tag teaming. And tag teaming is always I've always loved tag team
Right.
wrestling.
I remember you and Bayou
And
Bill had a good run.
yep,
You know,
that
that
was
was
fun.
yeah, that was definitely fun. I mean, I would imagine, you know, being singles, but you know, it's tag team wrestling is good.
And it's a whole different style of wrestling. It's a whole
Right,
different way of thinking. So like, yeah, I would absolutely tag anytime anybody would ask, hey, we're gonna put you in a tag match. Cool.
right,
Like, I love tag teaming, but like now it's tag teaming with one promotion's cool and I enjoy it. But I would like to have a traveling, if I'm a tag team, I would like to have a traveling tag team partner
right.
because I think it just makes sense.
Sure, sure.
But because social media is everywhere,
Yeah,
so
right,
like trying to have continuity between all of it's impossible. So if I can control that environment by creating my own continuity, I think that'd be more beneficial for just everything.
right. All right. So, all right, you're an indie wrestler. You're trying to get on a show that night. What's a day in the life like? You know,
So if it's a show I know is coming up, I've probably, or like it's the day of the show, I've already reached out to some of the wrestlers. I've already messaged the promoter, let him know I'm coming. So I have my show up time. I'm early, and I just work. Anytime
I can
the
vouch.
promoters
Right,
the promoter's like, oh man, like this isn't working. Hey, do you need extra hands, or maybe what is the problem? Maybe I know a solution to it. Just
right.
try to make things as smooth as possible
Yep.
so everybody can just focus on the show
Right, right.
and be there just to my goal anytime I'm at a show is to try and make the show the best it possibly can be that night.
For
So
sure.
it doesn't matter if I'm sweeping afterwards, like I'm still just going to make sure that I can walk away feeling like I did everything I could to make that show good.
Right. And you know, like I said, I know you from Zow and other promotions, but you know, definitely since Dreamwave has made the return, you know, you and I have both, you know, been mainstays there since
Hmm.
since the return.
I
And
missed the very first show because I was sick, and
oh,
I've been to
okay, yeah.
every one. I've been to every single one since.
Well, good, good. And then so, you know, so I've watched you, you know, set up the ring,
Hmm.
you know, run lights, do, you know, pop graffiti like during the show, like
Yep.
anything and everything, right? I mean,
Yep.
you know, it's you know, God bless Dreamwave, man. I love it. It's you know,
Yeah.
it's a family atmosphere. It's great. We're all like, you know, a big, huge, you know, village team putting this awesome show on, you know, and you know, but I've seen you, you know, set up and you know, and go through, you know, that grind, and you're starting to get some traction now, you know,
Yeah.
like I feel like there's, for lack of a better term, like I feel like there's kind of like a little darling spot there for you in that pre-show right now. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just feel like it's just got to take a little bit, you know what I mean, to catch a little momentum. Not that I want you to stay there. That's not my, you know what I mean? That's not what I'm saying, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
yeah, but so tell me, so now I want to talk about the payoff. You showed up, tons of shows. We'll talk about Dreamwave because that's what we're most familiar with, and set up, tear down, clean up, all that kind of stuff, like whatever it takes, right? So so tell me about how it feels now to start to get, you've had some, a couple matches now in the pre-show. I think you got into a scramble or a rumble or something. I think. Yeah.
I've had two pre-shows, couple scrambles, rumbles, just being able to be in the ring, like any opportunity to be in the ring with people that are better than you is always going to be a good opportunity.
Right.
Because you'll learn something. Right. And that's like the old adage, wherever you go, have your gear with you.
Yeah.
Because that's how I got the booking at Honor Wrestling, Honor Among Wrestling, because I had the night off. My friends were wrestling. I went there with my gear. Somebody had car troubles. And he's like, "Hey, you have your gear? Yep, cool. You have a match." Like sometimes that's all it takes is just having your gear with you, or sometimes it's like Dreamwave. That's the long process, especially if you're a new wrestler. But you can't be discouraged because they pay attention and they watch to see how you develop and how much more invested you get in, how much you help. And when you start developing more, then you get your, hey, here's your rumble. I just went and his music hit and I started headbanging. I couldn't help myself.
Right.
And I didn't tell Kaylee, my wife, because I wanted to hear her scream. So, she looked right at me and mouthed some words at me because I didn't tell her, but I just had this big smile on my face and started headbanging, And so the first thing I went over there is all right, cool. I'm in the ring with Warhorse. And I just walked over and punched Warhorse in the face.
Great, man.
Because, I'm in the ring with Warhorse. So this is what we do.
Right.
And so I did that. And and we got this really cool picture. It was elimination. So I'm hanging off the rope and being choked out by Warhorse, because you have an opportunity to do something with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what's great about Dreamwave too, dude. I mean, obviously we're going to be at every show, but it's surreal. You know what I mean? Like as a lifelong fan, it blew my mind. I was in the same locker room as Ricky Morton. You know what I mean? And
I have a Ricky Morton story.
and Minoru, coming up here in just another week. Like
I know. I have to keep myself because Minoru is my guy. I mean,
it's great, man. It's great. It's gonna be an awesome weekend. We'll get to that, but yeah, man. And that's what's awesome, man. Like what a great, a place to get into, because the chances of you working with people are just immensely endless. Like all kinds of people, and matchups you never thought you would see or possibly be in. But
called Dreamwave for a reason.
That's right, man. Yeah. So are you watching anybody on TV right now? Like who you're into right now?
I've been moving and doing the whole house buying thing. I've actually had been offline for a little bit, so I need to catch back up. But
just to see what they're doing.
Yeah, I watched Money in the Bank. Pretty much anything Gunther does, I'm gonna watch. Right. I don't know, just everything. Sami Zayn, just that man, the manic baby face. I watch a lot of his stuff because it's just there's a lot of similarities.
Right.
So Seth Rollins, John Moxley, Darby, because I'm glad he's doing it so I don't have to. Just there's so much, and it's great.
Yeah. There is just so much, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, there's only certain things I'll pay attention to, and then everything else, like I'm kind of like you, I'm catching clips, because it's hard to catch every pay-per-view, every you know, all these streaming services, and you know, and then on the indies, you know, it's trying to keep up everything, but like not everything's on IWTV.
Yeah.
Some of it's on Triller, some of it's on, you know, like whatever, you know what I mean? So
And then the clips are all over social media. So like I had GCW kind of spoiled for me because of Instagram, and I just immediately was like, nope, we have to watch it now.
Right. So what's your favorite part, man, about the grind of it all? You know, like, do you love the driving, or do you just fucking hate it? You know, like,
I've always loved being on the road.
okay,
Like the driving doesn't bother me at
all
all.
right,
It does wear on you.
sure.
Like I had one weekend where I was on the road for 16 hours.
God,
In one
geez.
weekend, I wrestled ICW in Milwaukee. Then I wrestled Honor Among Wrestling in Moline, and then I was in the X Bombers music video on Sunday, and that was like
Yes.
4.5 hours south.
Right.
So like I ended up putting 16 hours on the road in less than 48 hours.
Right.
And so like, yeah, like that's part of it. Like you kind of have to embrace the fact that you're going to be on the road.
Right.
It sucks.
Right. Yeah.
So you might as well enjoy it.
Right.
And, I'll start studying Spanish if I know it's got a 3-hour drive, or, like I listen to wrestling podcasts and maybe, learn some things, think of things differently. It's a quiet space to kind of just, like I was telling you earlier, like that's when I just start, cutting promos on whoever I want to cut promos on, just to get that voice and get that development. Because you're on the road, you're by yourself, you're already a wrestler. You should have no shame at this point. So you might as well just start yelling random things.
Right.
And if the guy passing you thinks that you are insane, well, my life is more entertaining, I guess. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm yelling at an imaginary person right now. Go away.
All right. Couple quick hits here. Just hit me here. This is about being on the road. Who are your like top 3 favorite bands or person to listen to?
Undertaker, the Mark Calloway podcast,
Okay.
Chris Van Vliet.
Yeah.
That's again a wealth of knowledge that is just at your fingertips. And then it just kind of cycles through different Dungeons and Dragons podcasts.
Nice. What about music? What's your top 3 of music?
Avenged Sevenfold is always going to be my number one. That's my Metallica.
I love Hail to the King, man. That song gets me juiced up, boy. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, Jackson King used to come out to that, and I used to give him crap for it. I was like, it's my favorite band, and you don't even like them, yet you're using their music.
Right.
I love messing with Jackson. Yeah, so it's that guy, or like I said, Ariana Grande.
Mm-hmm.
That's just because, 2 hours into a drive, just kind of need some of those feel goods. And then, like right before I get there, I usually throw on hip hop.
Best road snack.
Oh, what are they called? I've been getting these. Oh, I think they're called Poppets. It's popcorn, but they're in the shape of a chip, so you don't get kernels and stuff in stuck in your teeth.
Yeah, you're right.
And so
I think my wife eats those.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
So I love popcorn, and they're just easy to eat while you're driving.
What's like the best gas station to stop at?
Depends on the state.
What's your favorite one?
Favorite one?
Like we're getting gas here because I want to get the fucking barbecue they got, or the the Twizzlers or some shit. Like who is it?
Gas station food is all terrible.
Of course it is, but you buy it.
But I don't know. Like I guess I like Pilot. Just I think, like my favorite is pretty much any gas station that has like showers, like the truck stops.
Yeah,
because they just have everything in there. I might need. Shoot, I don't think I have duct tape. I'm gonna go pick up some duct tape at this. Like just, or you might be like, that vest is really cool. I'm gonna buy it and make something out of it. Like it just has, or there's audiobooks. It's just truck stops are just, I feel like, the way to go.
They are pretty cool. So speaking of cool shit you get to do as a wrestler, a lady named Kay Vatone reached out to me, Matt. She is with the band the X Bombers.
Yeah, I know her.
Yes, you do know her. As you were in the video for, they did the cover song for the Jim Cornette Experience, I think, the drive-through, I believe is what it is. And you were actually in the video. I shared it on all our social media, so you can go check it out at Sit Down Marks. You can check out the link. Very, very, very sweet young lady. We ended up texting for a little while. She put you over just about as good as I do, man. And
That's
she was just talking
awesome.
about how you worked hard, and she was looking forward to listening to the podcast. And so, in return, of course, I shared as much as I could for her, and in the band. So you got to
Yeah.
be in the video. Talk about that real quick, man. It's kind of cool. Like, how'd that happen with the X Bombers?
Somebody shared it to me that I went to high school with, that they posted up, hey, we need wrestlers. And I was like, I'm free that weekend. What's the worst that can happen? They tell me no. And they actually did tell me no. They're like, hey, we got these guys. They were from NWA. And I was like, they're like the big brawny guys, right?
Sure.
And so I was like, well, that makes sense for what you're wanting. Okay, cool. A couple days later, I get an email like, hey, we figured out a thing for you. We just really liked you and like talking to you. So we just want to, hang out with you. I was like, all right, cool. And then I did what I normally do. And I showed up early and just started doing stuff. And like the cool part was the theater kid in me started coming out, because I started like, I know what's like remembering, like, I know what this does. Oh, I know that this needs to be here. And then it just became fun.
Yeah.
Just helping out with the performance, or like, hey, maybe try this idea, because that's their theater kids as well. So like I got to learn like how to work the camera a little bit better from them, and a little bit more of the production. And because I'm fascinated by wrestling production, so I want to know everything about production.
Right. Well, dude, you need to have you applied for any kind of extra work or anything for WWE, TNA, any of that mailing lists, horseshit email, whatever they got to do, y'all got to do to get on that?
Yeah,
It'd be a good way to
I'm gonna
see the
start to.
production part. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
you're not wrong. I think it was a confidence thing, but I don't see why I shouldn't. Just again, what's the worst can happen? They tell me no, and then I just go do what I was going to do anyways.
Yeah. So how many times you get to wrestle on the weekend? You wrestling at least twice? Most months. Most months.
The summer is crazy.
Yeah,
this
because
summer
festivals. Yeah.
So yeah, it's usually like
I thought you were gonna fall
3.
asleep. You're like festivals
No,
are crazy, and like you're gonna fall asleep.
No, I was just thinking about the last like 3 weeks, and I was like, oh crap! Like I did all that while I was buying a house. Like I think I did the last 3 weeks. I think I've done 10 matches.
Yeah,
like summer's insane. This weekend I only have one, and I kind of did that by design.
and that's all right. Yeah, man. I mean, you still got to put that house together, and and Dreamwave is next weekend. As
or
we
the weekend after.
This. Yeah, it's gonna be August 2nd, 3rd, a double shot weekend. So we're busy. Yeah, man. I think you mentioned family. Let's talk about the wife, man. Let's talk about support systems. Let me tell you something. Like I'm gonna put her over here too, because I've like I've told you, I've been in the game a long time, man. Been in a lot of locker rooms. I've seen a lot of I feel like I know a lot, right? Not bragging at all. But to make
self-promotion's part of the game.
Yeah, to make it in this business, dude, like you got to have a big support system. You got to have people behind you, and especially if you're still having to, work and try to, be a pro wrestler too. You know what I mean? Like you really got to have that support. And Kaylee is, one of the most hardest working I've seen, because this girl, as soon as the show's over, she's tearing curtains off, the skirts off, and and when she's off the race, so she's literally, working and helping you, achieve your dreams. And so I just kind of wanted to make sure I shouted her out, because like I see this stuff. You see so many. Failed things in wrestling, so many bad things, a lot of things in light. And, this is one of the good things that's not ever really kind of brought to, kind of the forefront, a lot,
Yeah.
But on top of support, like talk about her for a second, man, riding in the cars with you,
Yep.
she's making your gear. You guys have
Yep.
kids,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure she's like your manager too. You
Yep.
know what I mean? So, yeah, man, let's talk about her for a minute, man. Like, how great is she in your career, right?
She actually took me to my first death match, my first ever live death match.
Hooked, right?
Yep. And like I was like, once I saw it live, I was like, I get this, I get it, I like this. This is cool. Like just the way it was Matt Tremont versus Alex Colon
So
in
you didn't know
Indianapolis.
deathmatch wrestling until this, or you just went to one live before?
When I like in high school and stuff, like I was watching the CZW stuff and backyard wrestling. I played the video games, like fascinated by the violence and like like just how extreme it was, And then growing up, like you just have all that, like, oh, deathmatch wrestling isn't real wrestling, and just have all that pressure to like almost conform to what the mainstream is.
Sure.
So I kind of lost it. Like, but don't get me wrong. Like I've always loved the ladder matches, the TLC matches, like the no disqualifications, falls count anywhere. Like those to me were always my favorite matches because one, you definitely don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what they're pulling out or who's going to do what.
Yeah.
And two, like there's just now as a wrestler, there's so many intricacies to that to make it work. In a way it's easier and harder.
Sure.
Because like you can freeform a lot more, but also like anything goes wrong, the whole match is the match could potentially be over with an injury. Like so there's just so many different nuances to that, and seeing it live for the first time was like, okay,
yeah,
I see this now.
Sure.
Screw everybody else.
You felt
I
it,
like
right?
I like deathmatch wrestling, and just the crowds are different. They're visceral. Sure. They're brutal. Like
they're hanging on every, I've said this, before too, like, I like to tell people, man, I used to laugh, I come from the days of clotheslines and bear hugs in wrestling, you know what I mean? And I'm still okay with deathmatch wrestling. Like, I'm like, it's just it's another wing in the hall of wrestling is the way I call it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And every now and again when I hear there's going to be a big, I'll watch it. Like, I'm like, you know what I mean? And so, but, I've never been a fan of it. I don't follow it, but like, yeah, I get it there because, I feel like in a roundabout way, it still supports because, let's say Matt Hatter goes to GCW and does a death match. Okay. Right. Well, then you're going to go to Dreamwave and they're like, oh, well, I've seen him at GCW and he's got another style, not just fucking, banging light tubes over people or something. Right. You know what I mean? So I still think it's promotion, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so it's just, but, but getting back to Kaylee too, you guys got a pretty good knack of finding like the best tacos in towns, right? Like,
oh yeah, that's still like one of the first things. Talk to locals. She doesn't. I do it.
Yeah.
She's like, we need to find good tacos. Okay, I'll go find. I'll just start talking to people.
Sure.
Hey, you live here? Cool. I need to know where the best taco place is because my wife's a taco person, and it always works.
Right. I don't know if we talked about this, but I seen you wrestle Kevin Cade. Did that one? How'd that one go the other day in Tampico? Is that what it's called?
Tampico.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm southern. It don't come out right sometimes.
That was a lot of fun. That was like we'd been friends for a while because hanging out at Dreamwave, different promotions, doing the grind. Meeting. Good to see him. And then it's like, hey, you guys are having a match tonight. It's like, cool. All right. And
now I got to smash you in the face.
Yep. I was like, I am going up against somebody who is way stronger than me. So I'm just going to kick him in the head a lot.
Yeah.
That was my game plan.
Yeah.
He can't be a strong man if he doesn't touch me.
Right.
And he threw me around a lot.
Yeah. All right, man. So tell me, man, where do you want to go, man? Where does this dream take you? What do you want to do? Are you happy on the indies? You want to go, where would you like to, everybody's got dreams. Let's hear yours.
All Japan.
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah,
because
dope. I didn't think that would come out of your mouth, so I'm intrigued. Let's hear it.
it's like the mainstream death matches. You've got All Japan and you got GCW. Those are your mainstream death matches. That's where
Right.
because like I told you before, like storytelling is insanely important to me. It's honestly my favorite part. So like you have a time and place for just a tube fest, but like especially like during deathmatch tournaments and stuff like that, where the whole spectacle is the violence.
Right.
But All Japan then GCW, they are very story driven. Like the whole story that just finished up with Effie and Warner was like what, a year of build up, and it's blood, violence, tears. Like it's a whole emotional roller coaster with a big payoff in the cage of death.
Yeah.
So like the storytelling aspect that GCW and All Japan do is just it's next level. And the way they do it is that's what excites me, and that's where I would love to end up. And of
Yeah.
course, a regular mainstay on the Dreamwave main card.
Sure. Dreamwave champion one day, huh?
That would be amazing.
I think I think you fit in the alternative division very well. I mean, alternative is just that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's not just styles. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. So let's talk about it again real quick. Like I've said, we talked about your pre-show matches, there, and you definitely quite earned those. So. And you got some pretty good reactions, if I do believe last time.
Yeah.
I believe y'all did a little spot where you put on Florida Man's glasses.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that got a pretty good reaction. But I mean, but those definitely gotta feel good getting on those.
Yep.
Getting on those pre-show matches, and that's just from hard work and doing what you need to do, man, because I've seen like talk about again, seen a lot in wrestling, when you're doing exactly what you need to do to make it in this business, I mean, I'm no promoter, might be one day.
I'd work
We'll
for you.
see, but
Hey, I might be buying. Little Birdie told me I might be buying a ring next year. So
so but stay hungry, stay on the grind. You guys are killing it together as a couple. You're killing it, and so what's coming up? Like, I know you got, tell everybody where they can see you, of course, tell everybody, where they can see your matches. We have a lot of, UK subscribers. A lot of people listen in UK. So any kind of links, that kind of stuff you could, send out.
all right. So this Saturday, July 27th, I will be at Third Coast Wrestling in Chicago at the American Legion Post 1170. I will be actually in the main event for the North Shore Championship Scramble.
Dope.
So we got that Saturday. I'll be around Uprising because I'm not missing anything Dreamwave, and those women are just amazing.
Yeah,
and it's
man.
so cool that they have that platform now because I want to wrestle them.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
legitimately,
Maggie Lee, Megan Bain, like, come on, dude, like that's sick.
Yeah. So you'll see me there, and then of course Dreamwave's the 3rd, so I'll be there, and then August 9th I have another no disqualification in Comanche, Iowa. Me versus Herzog.
Ooh.
So I just get to do what I do best.
Check out Herzog. If you go check him out. Watch one of his matches, man. That's a throwback.
I have.
Yeah.
And then August 24th, I will be in Milwaukee for at the St. Thomas More High School for Fourth Wall Wrestling. If you ever get a chance to go watch Fourth Wall Wrestling, even if you aren't a normal like go out and see wrestling, go watch a Fourth Wall show. Right. You will not be disappointed. It is wrestling for wrestling's sake, and it is the best. I love it there.
Milwaukee, is that right?
Yep. Fourth Wall Wrestling. It's Marman's promotion.
Marman, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So imagine working for Marman. It's
best stash in the game, boy. That thing is luscious.
He is a whole human being. I don't know how to explain him until you meet him. Like
Right.
he's an amazing human being, but he is a hell of a ride, and I love it.
Right. That's awesome. All right, man. Well, it looks like you're pretty busy, man. So so that's always good. So I want to thank everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube, and I want to thank everybody listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, and listening on Sportswire Radio. Thank you, everybody. And so, Matt Hatter, promoters, book this man. He's an incredible human being, a hungry up and coming wrestler. Matt, man, it's great to finally have you on here, dude.
I've been looking forward to this for a long time, my friend.
It's been years coming, man.
Yep.
So I kind of feel like I'm just watching the maturation happen with you in wrestling, man, and I love seeing you getting these spots in Dreamwave, and so it's onward and upward from here, brother. And so of course we'll have you back, and we'll check in and see how life is going on down the road. But stay safe out there. Keep grabbing those good tacos, and I got to find out where the best ones are in LaSalle, because
Nina's.
Where?
Nina's.
I
Yep.
think
it's
Kelly
like 3 blocks down,
but I couldn't remember. Oh, so I can walk to it.
It's
nice.
The best. Their tortas, perfect.
All right, there you go. That's the plug right there. There you go. Yep. Matt just gave it to you. In LaSalle, if you're going next weekend for Dreamwave, Nina's is where it's at. But don't take them all, or at least by me being mad a couple before we get there. So, but Matt, man, all the best, dude. I hope you finally get settled in the house here soon, and I'm excited to see you here in a couple of weeks, brother. And
absolutely,
damn good to see you, man. That pretty face is always delightful to see.
All
right, buddy. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for listening right now, and we'll see you guys next time on the Sit Down Marks podcast. I am DB. That is Matt. We'll be back in just a couple of weeks talking about SummerSlam. All right, guys. We'll talk to you then. Thank you, guys. Later.